Now this is the point where you start to lose it. This is where you got to focus on that tuck a little bit more. Good, and now we did. And then I'm just gonna put just a little bit right into that position. There it is, right? It's exhausting. It's hard. Tension on that blue band so you don't let those knees get pulled forward. A glute bridge. More. Right there. So now see how much more neutral she is? Good. Let's go 6 more. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1.
Hey everybody, this is Dr Montgomery. He's a kinesiologist, so he is June's specialty expert thing. That was terrible. Hey everybody, this is Dr Montgomery. He's a kinesiologist. He is this month's specialty coach. So we came over here to the kids room at Self-Made Training Facility, and this is Dr Montgomery, so he's gonna introduce himself.
My name is, why do I keep doing that?
This is gonna be way better, I love it. He keeps all the funny stuff in too. Like if you say booger, he'll just keep it in. Booger, 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 booger.
Is your balls the whole time?
Good, we'll cut that part out.
My name is Zach. I'm a kinesiologist. I'm also a functional patterns practitioner. I've gotten my Bachelor's of Science degree in exercise science and my Master's of Science in kinesiology, and have just really used all that information to help people.
He's got a lot of letters.
A lot of letters.
He really knows what he's doing.
A little bit.
So what is it exactly that you do? Because I know it's really obscure and it's kind of like...
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, at the end of the day, I fix people. That's kind of the simple term of what I do. I look at people's posture. I look at their, I do movement analysis for multiple things, but mostly for gait, so how people walk and run. And I use that information to then determine kind of what is going on with someone's body. And everyone has a dysfunction, regardless of who you are, whether you're a high-level athlete or a sedentary person. Everyone has these type of dysfunctions, so it's my job to really find those, help fix those, help you acknowledge them, and then really get into strength, athleticism, and performance.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about what you do, because I think we get so honed in on muscle and nutrition and we forget like there's so much more to the body, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, strength is really only one component of it, right? Because you have strength, you have speed, you have your agility or being reactive, and those are all parts of just athleticism. Fluidness, as an athlete, and then, I mean, when you talk about strength, think about like all the different types of strength stuff you've done. Like we talk about doing, having more of the endurance aspect of training, doing 15 reps, versus having the strength aspect, which is that 6 rep range. And so you think about how much that changes and how much the velocity of the bar changes for you, right? Well, so those are all things that contribute seriously into performance, especially when you talk about velocity. So these are things that I love to incorporate and use with people, but you got to get through the foundations, and that's kind of what we'll focus on a little bit more today, I guess, right?
Yeah, totally. So what is the official title for what you do?
Really, I pretty much identify as a functional patterns practitioner. So functional patterns is a specific system of training, and within this system there's different levels of certifications and so on and so forth, but we all really focus on biomechanics, and biomechanics is just basically how our body operates, how our bodies move, how we evolve to move, and that's what we focus on. We make that more of our priority, secondary to maybe just performance, because all of these factors will dictate how that performance goes.
Correct. Yeah.
So regardless of if we're trying to increase someone's vertical, make someone faster, make someone more durable, which is a huge thing now in today's sports with so many high-level athletes being injured. It really all comes down to just the fundamental movement patterns, and that's where I start everyone, regardless of their expertise or experience in fitness.
Good, yeah. I know a main part of what you do is fascial integration, so what is fascia exactly?
So fascia, the best way I like to think about it is fascia is a spidey suit. So everyone has this spidey suit on that's underneath their skin that encapsulates all their muscles. And depending on how sedentary you are, injuries, surgeries, there's going to be different less seams or different types of like knots and things on the spidey suit that may restrict it or constrict it in a certain area, compress it, which we see a lot. We do a lot with compression. And this type of spidey suit is actually like an organ. It's something that is a mediator basically between your nervous system and your muscles. So when we're trying to train someone, I'm trying to get them to connect their fascia. You have 12 fascial lines that we are trying to incorporate into just all of our daily activities and our daily natural movements. And when that occurs, and we have proper sequencing of this fascia, then everything kind of becomes like a reflex. We make movement that may be challenging for someone effortless. And so if we can make it effortless, well then now if we're talking about performance and athleticism, imagine if you actually are applying effort, how much more you could do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a big philosophy of mine, that, you know, if you look at the best athletes, they're very fluid. They make things look effortless. That's a huge part of athleticism. So, you know, if everything that, you know, say just like Tiger Woods swinging a golf club, if every time he swung a golf club, it was so hard for him to do that, he's not going to be able to excel at his sport or even focus on other aspects of the game, like concentrating, ignoring the crowd, what's the wind direction.
He's
I mean,
so focused
yeah,
on
there's
just
so many things. And that's a sport where you're just standing still. You're not playing against other people. And I mean, you are, but not, you know, directly. It's indirect. And so, you know, that's just a big part is finding that effortless movement and making sure that your body's supported through it and not being damaged in the process.
That's awesome. So when someone gets injured or hurt or has surgery, they get these little adhesions in their spidey suit in the fascia, right? So you have to break them up, and you often do myofascial release for that?
Yeah, so when it comes to the restrictions of fascia, there's different things that can happen. When it's an injury or surgery, it's more of like that scar tissue that develops that we want to break up. That's just a softer, not very durable tissue that can just kind of wreak havoc on an area. But then we have other things develop like calcifications, which we see more often. And calcifications are going to occur from dysfunctional movement patterns or being stuck in certain positions for a long time. And so like a good way to think about it is, you know, big thing what I do is we talk about evolution, what we evolved to do. And so if we relate to the first humans and what they did when they were stressed out, they were probably running from tigers, hunting down mammoth, right? They were doing these incredibly active things during a stressful time. Well, now what do we do when we're stressed out? We're probably sitting at a computer answering an email from our boss, and we're just fuming, you know, and that it's the same hormonal response, but it affects our body so much more because instead of that hormonal response being where we're going through full ranges of motion, running and throwing and jumping, it's happening to us in this stiff environment, and then everybody wonders why they're so stiff, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of it just comes from those hormonal responses that deposit calcium into these areas that your body's trying to protect itself. It says, hey, you're stressed out, you're in this position, I want you to be safe. Let's get you really good at this.
Yeah.
And so let's deposit all these this calcium everywhere, which is what bone's made out of. So your body's basically piling on more bone to stiffen you up. And these areas become extremely dehydrated. So the reason we do myofascial release is to not only break up the area, but to hydrate it. Your fascia is fluid. It's supposed to be. There's those adhesions are basically hard spots. And so when we do the myofascial release and we hydrate that area, and then we do exercise that then links the fascia together, we're creating a more fluid environment. And if we talk about performance, I mean, you just think about nutrients, right? Like if I can get nutrients faster from one site to another because everything's fluid and there's no blockages of blood flow, then I mean that's something that I don't think anyone's really measuring right now, you know. But that's you know, another benefit you could see from just really focusing on fascia.
So speaking on stiffness, you know, being stuck at a desk, and obviously a lot of people want to talk about posture. So these adhesions and, you know, kind of connecting your fascia, how does that relate? Does it relate to posture? If it does, you know, how do you go about correcting someone's posture? And then if you want to get into scoliosis, that would be awesome.
So in just relation to posture and these adhesions, you got to think of we would all be a pile of organs if we didn't have, or a pile of organs and bones if we didn't have muscles, right? Muscles give us our structure, but that structure is built off of our bones. So a big thing that I do with people in the beginning is teach them how to align their bones. A lot of people's bones are off-center because tissues from, again, positions, injuries, surgeries, bad habits, whatever, tissues are going to pull bones off-center. You know, so if like this is my knee joint that I want to have perfectly stacked, well, if maybe I have knee valgus and I have, you know, just my knee's been collapsing for years. Well, God, if this has been happening to you for 10 years, your knee is probably getting pulled over medially, right, towards the center of your body and is now offline with that knee. So now this isn't just a knee valgus issue. This is a straight up bone and joint issue that, you know, we can't just do strength exercises and fix. Like I have to teach you
like
how to,
your knee out,
exactly. I have to teach you how to realign those bones again, but that's using the structure of the fascia, right? Because the fascia is really what's telling the muscles what to do and how to sequence. So we definitely deal with muscles, but I almost think it's simpler to think of the muscles as fascia, because we're talking about like, you know, one whole chain, essentially one muscle, right, that's working together versus how many muscles are 220 muscles on the body, whatever it is. So when it comes to stacking the bones, once we do that, that also allows proper muscle activation patterns to happen. So and think about it, your body's all about how it's working, right? Like you can look like you're in position, but if you're not feeling, if you're not activating the muscles the way you're supposed to in that position to be strong or to protect yourself, then you're going to be doing damage, or you're going to be compensating.
Yeah.
And we all have these compensation patterns, so we want to learn to fix those. But
so regarding realigning your bones, right? So is scoliosis something you can actually address and fix?
100%. So again, it depends on the severity of everything, right? Like if someone has a crazy scoliosis curve, I mean, for them to get perfectly straight again might never be an option, you know, with the amount of work that's going on, and also just how damaged the spine was in the first place from the injury, the way they were born, whatever it was. But the thing is, everyone has scoliosis, whether you realize it or not. I have a 15-degree curve in my lumbar spine, and that's kind of what led me down this path, because I realized that, wait a second, how come I look perfect? Everyone's telling me how great my form is. I'm even teaching people how to do this stuff. Meanwhile, I can't even tie my own shoes. And that was a huge, just like, ego hit for me to realize that, hey, wait a second, there's way more to this than what I'm dealing with right now. And so, you know, going back to the scoliosis, that's just a postural defect, right? So, and that can occur standing neutral. So some people, it's so bad, you see it standing, you see that curvature right away. Some people, you don't see it until maybe they're going through a certain pattern, like rotating, and then they bend the crap out of their spine. They collapse their rib cage. Their hips sway out to one end, and that's just going to add to those curvatures. And so if they're doing that repetitively, of like, oh yeah, I'm doing, you know, I run track and I'm doing these sprints all the time, and like, well, then if you're doing, especially under a stressful high performance event, you're destroying your body by being aligned like that. And again, it's kind of like that cigarette argument. One cigarette's not going to kill you, but you know, 20 years later, yeah, exactly. And so that's where that's my main argument against me. A lot of people like don't think it's necessary because they don't feel or see the issues on themselves right away, but don't realize that, like, guys, this is a longevity thing.
Right.
Like, we have one body. We all want to do cool stuff, but let's learn how to preserve it. And that's kind of
get better, not get worse.
Yeah, exactly. And people don't realize, like, you can train and get better posture. You can train and lose weight, and like you can do all these different things simultaneously and prolong the life of your body at the end of the day. Like, I mean, everyone I know who's ever worked out and has, you know, done any type of lifting has dealt with knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, stiff neck, right? Like, we've all done it, you know, so it doesn't mean it doesn't happen to me anymore, but I use those issues as ways to learn about my body's tendencies, and then you work them out. And there's obviously different techniques for things like that.
Yep. So while we're lucky enough to have him here with us at Self-Made, Zach's actually going to demonstrate some proper myofascial release on me, and so you guys can incorporate this into your programming. And then if you have any serious things, you can obviously reach out to him. We're going to have his information here available for you. And then he's going to go ahead and demonstrate some of the more advanced techniques that he teaches other people. He's created some incredible power and movement and explosiveness and fluidity connecting his fascia. So we're going to be able to see like where that can really take somebody. You've got some insane moves, so I'm really excited to see them. I'm excited for you to show them off.
I'm excited to get after it.
And then how can people reach you as a coach?
So honestly, the best way to reach me is going to be email or Instagram. And so for Instagram, the hierarchy. For email, it'll be Zach at hierarchypt.com.
Sick. We'll have that available right below. Thanks, guys.
All right, so today we'll focus on a pendulum jump. So this is very similar to a kettlebell swing. It's the same motion, it's a hinging motion, but we can just make that kettlebell swing a bit more athletic, as most people kind of get hung up once they reach that kettlebell swing, don't know what to do next. So we got 2 dumbbells here. I like 210s so it doesn't influence the height of my jump too much. And from here, we can just kind of start swinging the dumbbells. We call this that pendulum motion. This becomes a biorhythm. Everything has just a natural rhythm. Once I kind of start with that weight, it just becomes an actual biorhythm that I can adapt to. So once you start here, you start to feel yourself kind of drifting from your heels to your toes. And just like an athlete, we kind of want to get connected through our whole body and really feel that motion. From here, when the weights go back, my hips go back. When the weights go forward, I stand. So it's going to look like this. And so this is the most simple version, just like that kettlebell swing. I really want to drive into a nice tuck here at the top, get a nice core engagement. I don't want to sway the hips forward. I want to stay nice and tall. And then from here, we can start to get the upper body involved with a little push and pull. I'm gonna pull and then push those weights right back out, keeping that same kettlebell form. And then once you got this motion down, I can start to add the jump. That's your pendulum jump.